marriage rates dropped?
I think that's for many reasons. A lot of it is heavily to do with the fact that women are more educated now, and you're right, they do put themselves first now.
Educated that still doesn't answer the question. Still doesn't answer the question.
Now,
yeah, so that still doesn't answer the question. Still doesn't answer the question,
right? Yeah, so because they put themselves first, a lot of the time that means that marriage is less likely because they put themselves first, purely of the time that means that marriage is less likely to happen.
Why is marriage less likely to happen? Why exactly? What is it that they're getting older? Why is marriage less likely to happen? Why exactly? What is the reason why older they're not getting married? What is the reason why
the women become the less they're gonna desire men? So of course marriage is gonna reduce as well. The less they're gonna desire men. So of course marriage is gonna reduce as well.
So you're saying that women in general just
they don't want marriage. I don't think women have stopped wanting marriage.
No,
they don't want marriage. I don't think women have stopped wanting marriage, seeing the benefits that it's giving them. I just think that they've stopped seeing the benefits that it's giving them.
So which one is it? Do they not want to get married?
Wanting to get married is one thing, but you have to find the right person if you want. Wanting to get married is one thing, but you have to find the right person if you want.
Alright, so why are they not finding the right person? What about the men that are up to par? What about the men that are up to par? Why are they not marrying them? What about the men that are up to par?
It's rare to find men who are
Why are they not marrying them? Really? Is that really?
It's rare to find men who are up to par.
Billions of men? Is that really? You're telling me there's not one man out of the billions of men?
You're not surrounded by billions of men.
You're telling me there's not one man out there? These women are educated. Their career driven. They travel. Yeah, but these women are educated. Their career driven. They travel. Do you know how many modern women travel today?
Travel doesn't mean you have access to a billion women all the time. A billion men means you have access to a billion women all the time. A billion men.
So basically, they're not attracting the man that they want. Ram, we're 2025. Instagram is a thing. TikTok is a thing. Facebook is a thing. Instagram is a thing. Traveling is a thing. Facebook is a thing. YouTube is a thing. Traveling is a whole thing in itself. The men that they want don't want them. Because you ain't gonna sit here that the men that they want don't want them. Because you ain't gonna sit here billions of different people in 2025 that a modern woman can't find the man that she wants. Billions of different people worldwide that a modern woman can't find the man that she wants. No, of course you don't believe that. Because I don't believe that. That's why. No, of course you don't believe that. Because you're why are they not marrying them? Why are they not marrying them? Why are they not marrying them? Why are they not women? Yeah, they always want to have intercourse with women. They always want women. Yeah, they always want to have intercourse with women. But why aren't they getting married?
Pretty, what about the ones that are married and still cheat on their wives anyways? For the ones that they don't want to get married and still cheat on their wives anyways? For the ones that they don't want to get married to?
I have a question for you, Ram. Okay, if a man was to say there's no good traditional women out there, do you think if a man was to say there's no good traditional women out there, do you think
that's true? But I can.
Do you think that's true? So you.
I don't think that's true, but I can.
Alright, so when a man says there's no good traditional women out there, do you think he's telling the truth? When a man says there's no good traditional women out there, do you think he's telling the truth? When you come and tell me,
I don't think he's telling the truth, but I can.
When you come and tell me. A modern woman has never found a good traditional man before. So you're telling me a modern woman has never found a good traditional man before.
If I'm being honest, because how is it silly? Your questioning is a bit silly.
How is it two different things?
I'll explain. Things are two different things. Thinking that there are no good or no traditional women or men out there is one thing. It's just categorically not true. Or men out there is one thing. It's just categorically not true.
Okay, so let me change it. Do you think a man can say I've never met? So let me change traditional woman. Do you think a man can say I've never met?
That's possible as well. It depends on your environment. It depends.
It's a yes or no question. Do you think a man has never come across? It's a yes or no question. Do you think a man has never come across a traditional woman? And I can't deal when women don't like to be upfront and straightforward. Deal when women irritates me. Yes, I can be hella rude. Get forward. It really irritates me. Yes, I can be hella rude. Get over it.
Your question is disingenuous. That's why.
Every single human being has met at least one every single human traditional man has met at least one good traditional man or traditional woman. Okay, it's not a lie. It's not a lie, Ram. It's not a lie. It's not a lie. Open panel now. It's not a lie, Ram.
I'm gonna speak.
It's not a lie. We can do open panel now.
I'm gonna speak.
I just want to say it's not a lie. It's not a lie. I think when women say they've never met, I just want to say it's not a lie. Traditional man. It's not a lie. I think women say he's never met a good traditional woman, a good traditional man. And if a man ever says he's never met a good traditional woman,
it's a lie. Love to tell. And this is the biggest lie that women love
their educations. They most likely are very masculine. They don't know what the real values are when it comes to tradition. They don't know what, and that's why they cannot even identify when it comes to traditional. Most of the time, and that's why they cannot even identify when a man is traditional. Most of the time, if they see a man that is traditional, they're gonna be like, "Oh, he's they would be like, oh, he just want to control women and stuff like that." Or they would be like, women that are educated, they are masculine. Sorry to tell y'all, most of the time when they go, they are masculine. Sorry to tell y'all, most of the time when their children, they forget their husband, they forget everybody to go and get this money. And when they get this money, everybody to go and get this money. And when they are getting this money, what are they doing with the money? They are going and getting here. They are going and getting stuff. What are they doing with the money? They are going and getting here. They are going and getting stuff to sexualize themselves to get attracted by men. I'm sorry to tell you, but that's the truth.
That's so stupid.
If they run into a traditional person, what if that traditional person is in the midst of dating somebody that they seem to be better than them? Traditional person is in the midst of dating somebody that they seem to be better than them. You know,
can you repeat your access?
It's a competition with everybody.
Yeah, can you repeat your
all these traditional people we may run into? We may have access to all these traditional people we may run into. Traditional person that may just outdo you. And that person may be talking to another traditional person that may just outdo you.
Then you gotta then do better. Sorry, if that man is not to be honest, then you're good enough. Okay, then do better. Sorry, if that man is not cooking, you're not doing good enough. Sorry to tell y'all, a lot of women nowadays, they're not willing to compete. Sorry to tell y'all, they are not willing to compete. They are not willing
that we can just do better. Why can't we just go to the next tradition?
Let me tell you guys my experience. Can I share my experience? Let me tell you guys my experience. Can I share my experience? When I was younger, when I was younger,
I know sorry, EJ. I don't know whose background that is.
I'm gonna be honest with myself. I'm gonna put myself out there because I'm gonna be honest with myself. When I was younger, I met my children's father. We fell in love. It was like a hopeless romantic type of love. My children's father. We fell in love. It was traditional. It was like a hopeless romantic type of love. You know, and then it was time when traditional education took place. I started getting a more higher education, and as I continued to go out and start doing all these, getting a more higher education, and as I continued to go out and start doing all these things, I got cocky and confident within myself. He wasn't going to go into the world, or am I going to choose my family? And at that point, I had to choose. I chose myself. Am I going to go into the world, or am I going to choose my family? And I'm saying to myself, I chose myself. If I would have chosen my family, then I'm looking back at it, and I'm saying to myself, if I would have chosen my family, but no, I decided that at that young age that I wanted to together, but no, I decided that at that young age that I wanted to, and at the end of the day, I did scare men off. Even if they were successful, because I felt like I was very confident. Even if they were do everything I want, so I don't need you. I was very confident.
That's so true.
I felt like I could do everything I want, so I don't need you.
Did you initiate the divorce? Sorry, I have a question for you. Did you initiate the divorce?
Well, I don't need him anymore. But at the end of the day, I did because he was my rock. I don't need him anymore. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I've never met anybody else like him. Up to this day, he's my best friend. You know what I mean? And I've never met anybody else like him. Up to this day, he's my best friend. But I was much better off in the world. I don't like what's out there in the world. Know that I was much better off at home with my family. But I didn't know that the blonde girl was saying that it all do also come from home and all of that. The blonde girl was saying that it all do also come from home and all of that. Being a more modern woman, a more traditional woman, along the way of being a more modern woman. I mean, not being traditional woman, cocky and independent, because we do need our men. Not being we do need cocky and independence because we do need our men.
About your story,
we do need
you're saying that I'm not quite getting about your story, right, and whatnot. But can I ask, you're saying that this person why is it like your rock and everything and whatnot? But can I ask, because so why is it that you felt like
we weren't aligned anymore? Because I felt like I've exposed myself into the world to certain things because he wasn't exposed myself into the world to certain things, and he wasn't exposed into the world to certain things. So now I don't want to. I personally feel like,
thought that she could do better.
I can't. Yes. I don't want to build business.
Thought that she could do better.
Yes.
In every way. It sounds like in every way. You know, when you in every way. It sounds like in every way. You know, when you make more money, you're around different people. When you need to understand, when you make more money, it seems like you're around different people. Your environment changes. It seems like different opportunities, and those opportunities come with different type of people. Gave her different opportunities. You know, when you're married, those opportunities you still have your husband. So she probably couldn't do the when you're married. She probably couldn't go your husband. So she probably couldn't do the same things that she wanted to do. She probably couldn't go to the same place she wanted to go. You're holding me back. I want more. She felt like,
it still doesn't make sense to me because for you
it doesn't make any sense.
But it still doesn't make sense to me because for you to describe someone as your rock, can I explain myself, right? That is a huge thing. For you to describe someone as someone who supports, that is someone who supports you. That is someone who die for you. That is someone who supports you. That is someone who ride or die for you, 100% there for you. How do you just leave them just because your lifestyle changed? Or how do you just leave them just because your lifestyle changed?
Depths of our dynamics. So when those things were happening, I didn't go into full depths of our dynamics. So when those things were happening, so we were together from I was like 16 up until I was about 28. So we were together from I was like 16 up until I was about 28. How can I say it? That whole journey, it was like the fighting. There was lots of fighting. How can I say it? And how could we get over the fighting? There was lots of time we tried to get over those fights. And how could we get over certain fights? And every time we tried to get over those fights, things from the past would come up. And a place no longer where you can grow. You just have to tainted. So you just have to stay in a place no longer where you can grow. Are you going to stay at a dollar store? You just have to be $1 worth of water, or are you going to go to the airport? Are you going to stay at a dollar store and be $1 worth of water, or are you going to go to the airport?
Korea wasn't the reason why you left. That was the reason why. Korea wasn't the reason why you left. That was the reason why.
Guys, don't try to twist what she's saying. Because now she's right now
the fighting, the in between.
Because sounds like she's saying, "Are you single pretty?" Right now, it sounds like she's saying, "Are you single pretty?"
I'm stuck in the part where I'm looking for something that's traditional. I'm not just a man that's just going to be where I'm looking for just for the beauty, traditional. Not just a man that's just going to be wife, etc. Just for the beauty, just for that. Right now, that's where I'm at. So I decided to just stay by myself. So to find that right now, that's where I'm at. So I decided to just stay by myself.
What that really sounds like, for being honest, because a lot of women need to be honest about these things, because what's happening is a lot of women need to be honest about these things. They just come here and lie. What's happening and then you have women, and then I'm not being rude, but then you have Ram and Katie that want to twist her words up. And then I'm not being rude, but then you have Ram and Katie that want to twist her words up. You didn't let me finish. I'm not trying. Hold on. Everything she said makes a lot of sense. Every marriage is going to have ups and downs. Everything she said makes a lot of sense. Argument is stupid. Every marriage is going to have ups and downs. And that's not what she did. She didn't just leave because they were having stupid, petty arguments. And that's not what she did. Because she didn't just leave because they were having petty arguments. Instead of she left because she thought she could do better. Instead of actually sticking marriage with her husband. And now on her marriage with her husband. Now that she's actually single and experiencing the dating pool, she realizes and experiencing the walk that I had. The dating pool, she realizes I can't even find the walk that I had.
I struggle to believe that
I can't even find again. You struggle to believe that, but that's her experience. You can't. You struggle to believe that, but that's her experience. You can't disregard her experience.
Can I also add something as well? I noticed that rich men tend to go for traditional women as well. All the wealthy men, they actually go like, if you look at Ronaldo, his wife was just working in a coffee shop. Go like, if you look at Ronaldo, like she showed that she wasn't working in a coffee shop, very traditional boss chick. Like she showed that she wasn't a go-getter. A lot of them, most of them, even footballers, they go for the traditional girl. Like just a lot of the time, wealthy man, they go for the traditional girl. You know that when I was younger, I have dated a cool girl. I'm not trying to gas myself up. You know that when I was younger, I have dated, and I was broke as shit. Like I have dated a couple of people, and I was broke as shit. Like I was broke as shit. That's when I attracted them the most. But when I went into business and I started enhancing myself, I actually started scaring off. When I went into business and I started enhancing myself, and now that I have a partner, so I actually do business as well. When I'm doing and now that I don't want to talk to him, partner, I literally just sometimes like put him to the side, like treat him like I don't want to talk to him. And it's just like I literally just sometimes like put him to the side, like treat him like nothing. And it's I was very actually understanding when I started conversation how real this is. I was very, and I don't think us women are deep in it, but it's actually real.
Ram, and you know what? It was hard for me because at the end of the day, no, he is my Ram, and I can you know what? It was hard for me because at the end of the day, no, he is my Rock, and I can say that because right now anything is wrong with me, like doesn't matter, and even if he's in a relationship, or even if I'm in a relationship, like doesn't matter, and just what it is in a relationship, or even if I'm in a relationship, it's just what it is.
You said something that, and I don't think a lot of women understand how hard that is to find. I don't think a lot of women understand how hard that is to find. And he's always there for you. The fact that you divorced this man,
I agree with you.
And he's always there for you. That's like, you need to hold on, Ram. I don't think you comprehend. You need to hold on, That's very hard to find. I don't think someone that is always going to be there. That's very hard to find.
No matter what, someone that is always going to be there for you. He can see me at my worst days. I don't care. I don't have no makeup on. It's not about a piece of crap. He can see me at my worst days. I don't care. I don't have no makeup on, looking like a piece of crap. It's like, can see me, that's my guy. But like now, it's like, it doesn't matter.
Modern women can turn.
If I'm being honest,
sorry, Peggy, hold on 1 second, go on, Ram. And then we go to you, Peggy. Sorry, Peggy, hold on 1 second, go on, Ram. And then we go to you, Peggy.
Because this is the only place I'd actually agree with understand your story. Because this is the only place I'd actually agree with Remnant, right? If I had someone like that, the way you're describing him, right? If I had someone like that,
the truth is, Ram, you would have done it too. The truth is, Ram, you would have done it too. Believes that she would have done it. The way you're talking and the way you believes that she would have done. You would have done the exact same thing. And the way you would have done. Yes, you would have done the exact same thing. You would have done. Yes, because when you believe that, let me tell you, because more money when you means you can buy nicer things, more money. Get your hair done you nicer. Can buy nicer things. You get nicer more attention. Get your hair done nicer. You go to different work events. You get more attention. You're meeting richer people. You go into different work events. You're meeting richer people. You're going places that your husband has never been. You're meeting people that your husband has never been close to. You're meeting people that your husband can never even get close to. You would do exactly the same thing.
Let me tell you what happened. Along that time, let me tell you what happened. Along that time, the reason why it's very important. My friend now is because I'm no longer in love with him. But I do love him, but I'm not because I'm no longer in love with him. And I haven't been in love with him for a very long time now. So that's why. And I haven't been in love with him for a very long time now. He's still in love with me. I'm not too sure. He can say the same thing. He can probably say he's still in love with me. I'm not too sure. So that love is always going to be there. I have his 2 kids. So he can be my best friend. But am I in love with him? Always going to be there. So he can be my best friend. But am I in love with him? No.
Sorry, guys.
Completely. I would never
sorry, 1 second. Let's not
Have you always considered a modern woman? Because it seems like during your relationship, always considered a modern woman, and you wanted to pursue better during your relationship to seek higher education, and you wanted to pursue better things.
Like I told you guys in the beginning of the story. In the beginning when I met, that's when things changed. Like I told you guys in the beginning of the story. In the beginning when I met him,
modern women can change.
Peggy's saying.
Yeah, the choices are.
I think she's trying to say that you was always modern.
Yeah, the choices are.
What she's saying. I think she's trying to say that you was always modern. Which I do actually agree with her. Funny enough, which I do actually agree with her. I disagree with a lot of things what I think she's saying.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying.
If she's saying what I think she's saying,
no, that's exactly what I'm saying. Honestly, personally, that's just my experiences in life. Change to be traditional. Honestly, personally, that's just my experiences turn a different leaf. You know, like certain mistakes make them happen in the path that they chose. You know what I'm saying? Like, isn't the right one, and they're like, okay, well, I'm eating my mistakes right now, and I have to turn back. The right one, and they're like, okay, well, I'm eating my mistakes right now, and I have to turn back. I feel like that's what happens, but I don't feel like they're will never get rid of, and it just is what it is. Certain traits will never get rid of, and it just is what it is. Honestly,
I do think he was always modern because disrespectful, right? There was another key factor that you said. He was always modern because he wasn't raised another key factor that you said. You wasn't raised a certain way. You didn't have someone that.
So I was gonna touch base on that. You're listening because that where it goes back to the household now. You're listening because my mother goes back to the household in a way where my mother didn't like it. So here we go. My mother raised me in a way where a very materialistic woman. She wasn't a woman who was traditional. She's a very materialistic woman. She wasn't a woman who was traditional. And growing up, she would always try to push me onto older men and tell me that, oh, growing up, she would always try to push me onto older men and tell me that, oh, she was trying to encourage me. You know, you guys ever seen this? I'm a Caribbean girl. There's a movie that I'm going to draw reference to. It's called Dance Hall Queen. I'm a Caribbean girl. There was a mother in the movie where she was whatever. I guess she was struggling. There was a mother in the movie where she was whatever. She was, and there was a man that used to come around and give her mom money. And she had two daughters. And there was a man that used to come around and give her mom money. Pawn her daughter onto this man that had money. And that's my mother. She was trying to pawn her daughter onto this man that had money. And that's my mother. I pulled away from that. So when I saw that kind of, I closed off myself. Hence why I met my child's father. Hence why I have his two children and I was working on it. But throughout that whole journey, my mom would be in my ear telling me to leave him because he's not providing for me at her pace. My mom would be in my ear telling me to leave him because he's not providing for me at her pace.
Okay, guys,
and that puts it into perspective because there are certain type of women.
Okay, guys, sorry. I'm just gonna introduce the next panelist, and then you can open the panel. So you can finish off saying what you want to say. The next panelist, and then you can open the panel. So you can finish off saying what you want to say. Can you please address the prompts? Thank you for waiting patiently. Welcome.
I do agree.
Can you please address the prompts?
Just based on the fact that a lot of women in this, just based on the fact day and age, are still a lot single. Of women not even just single. Let's say like are not. They don't have a structure. Not even just single. Let's say like are not. They don't have a structure. Not even like at the age where they're working towards it. They don't even have like. They're not even like at the age where they're working towards it. They don't even have like. They're not even at that step where. When I look at my mom's generation and backward, popping kids by now and probably making a household. So yeah, modern women are now and listed desirable. Making a household. So yeah, modern women are listed desirable because men don't want to marry us.